think I see you crying in your cars, but I do. Sometimes I can feel it at a red light, someone at my side trying to muddle through. See them wiping their eyes in their rear view, like black hole sun in the sky. Why the fuck won't you come when I need you? Well, this moment in time is as close as we'll be and as far as I'll meet you. Two windows in between us, new moon in the house of Venus. One stranger who sees you and reads your features knows that your alibi might be tight, but it's not quite leak-proof. So if you're sitting at the light and you're crying in your car, just know that I see you. And it's a 50-50 that I'm bloodshot, gun-shy, once bitten, twice tried, ribs pried wide to the sky till I'm see-through.
That's you, in case you don't recognize yourself.
You don't think I see you struggling to breathe, but I do. I see you stumble in your everyday grief like I do. I try, but I do. I'm twice bitten too. My mind's split in two. My knuckles bright white from the 10 to the 2. And the song in my head is the theme for a fugue, a state of decay through the filter of corporate news, where they edit the grays and the blues. They whitewash the brown till they drown out the natural hues. And then it's just another fact to refuse, that the corporate ladders for hanging the company noose. Consider it one of your perks, after all it's communal in use. So you can come and hang till your legs go limp and they're shaking you loose. Now you watch 5 co-workers opt for the alternate exit, neatly suspended above where you wolf down your food. And your company gets its incentives embellished by harping on wellness, suggesting you'd best take time for your mental health after your 14 hours are through. Like we gave you a bottle to piss in and fixed up a noose on the crossbeam. Christ, what more can we do? So if you struggle to breathe any moment that you aren't asleep, then remember, most of Americans fear for their savings, fear for their shelter, fear for their babies. You aren't the fringe of exception, but rather a perfect example of capital's rule. And you're far less alone than the ruling class tells you is true. You're far less alone than the ruling class tells you is true. I see you crying in your cars, but I do.
That's how it goes. We won't open our eyes, so we're the last ones to know. We're the last ones alive. Kept our enemies close. Wondered why we don't thrive while we're grasping at ghosts. Counting backwards from 5. Counting backwards from 5. Counting backwards from 5.
Count back from 5. The theater on fire, the cast on strike. The studio stock starts taking a dive. The contract's tossed and they're gone with the tide. The heads and execs, their hands are tied. We can't pump this dreck and treat you right. But what do you expect from the industry type who survive by the leeching of bodies and minds? From those who original thoughts never seem to find. So they're gonna reboot ALF before your wages rise. And it gives cause to pause and reflect on the times. If they're losing control of their fools and their mimes, when all those obedient actors who grew their careers by averting their eyes are now holding the line, along with the authors of countless scripts that strengthen the hand of that corporate grip, squeezing our throats till we take the pen and we accept and consent to the corporate drip, till you're all up to date on your pharma du jour, till you got a healthy support for the war on your lips. And now you know that the advertisers need more than a rerun summer full of flashback clips. Enter the scans from the year before, all the days of de-aging and mapping the face, and the hours of actors recording their voices are links in the chains that will bind them in place. Now all of those shows are so easy to make. When they got a drone they control that needs no break, it can bend, it can break, and it's cheaply replaced enough up-to-date films all in one take. And those studios bank on us doing our duty, unhinging our jaws and digesting the fakes. Because they know that we'll love how synthetic it tastes. Watch as they edit your features without any trace. Not that there's anything you could do anyway. Now watch as they show you a movie you used saying shit you would never say. Dystopia boldly accelerates. Maybe you're only a mold, something to fill with a clone, something that Elon would celebrate. Something they own, something they program and code, something that's woefully able to know it's exanimate. Cause it doesn't feel touch over top of the laminate. You will not feel an emotion, but they will not scan and examine it. You and the other consumer contaminants fed on the federal diet of Kiev, Havana, and Tiananmen. I can't be the only one weighing the pros of abandonment. I can't be the only one weighing the pros of abandonment.
Where did you think we'd go? Love, there's nowhere to lie. Guess it's not who you know, more it's what you can hide. Like we're chained to the floor, they're streaming us live while we're watching the war, counting backwards from 5, counting backwards from 5, counting backwards from 5, counting backwards. I don't need to say it at all myself, cause now you can see it. And I don't wanna say that I lost myself, cause I didn't need it. Whoever I was when it started, I think that they'll stay in the past. That's all that I've lost when it's over. I'll be happy with that. I'll be happy with that. I'll be happy with that.
I don't have the inflection for commercial rap appeal, and I'm a little too subversive to be verified. Now if someday I can reach 10K, I'll retract it, I'll admit it, and I'll clarify. But in the meantime, I'll be underground where the air's beyond rarefied. Honestly, it's barely there, and honestly, it's paradise. I don't have a label that can tell me how my lyrics aren't conducive to the royalties of parasites. I'm just one man in an 05 GMC with an iPhone 8 and a low-end mic trying to take down the DNC. Stay up late and go into a rage and record all night, then wake the next day like, damn, that's me. So trust me when I tell you that your fury will articulate the things you're afraid to believe. You can tell cause I shake when I speak, that there is anger in the air we breathe, and it is liberally applied like the label of progressive, slapped on every neoliberal spamming you their message, slapped on every Buttigieg who tells you cozy up to your oppressors. Pardon me if I don't trust a word out of Radigan the Lesser. Shut your eyes, love, the more you know the better. The worse you see, the sweeter. A peaceful revolution doesn't really fill a theater. A flint will start a fire, and flint water douses it. But if you think it's safe to drink, you must have skipped the Kool-Aid and gone for the ether. Cause I think you're fucking dreaming. Are you? No? Good. Me either. All right. Let's take a short breather.
Nice. Walter Cronkite was always on time, Fred Edward. That is correct. We are not Walter Cronkite by any stretch of the imagination.
Also had an entire team behind him to make sure everything was ready. He had the stories all in a nice little packet of papers.
Right.
He'd take off his glasses dramatically and read them. He just showed the fuck up, guys. Everyone else did the work for him, you know?
All right. Well, hi, everybody. It's How Do We Miss That? It's Sunday night.
Nice.
It's Indy. It's Reef. I can't put chats up on screen. I don't know what the heck's going on with my app that does that, but for some reason, it's broken tonight. I can read them out. I can see you, but I cannot put them up on screen, which is not fun. But what are you going to do? Not Yo Mama's News. That's right, Fred. We are definitely not Yo Mama's News. We're going to get into several things. We're going to talk about what a scam Amazon is pulling on their Prime Day. Yeah, sure. Our friend Gordon Dimmack wrote a scathing article burning down WikiLeaks. And we're going to go through that because I've been waiting for somebody to say something at some point. And that's even tepid. I feel like not tepid, but there are a lot of things he did not say and did not go into that could potentially also be covered in addition to that. I also brought a piece from Golden Monarch about that, talking about Gabriel Shipton and WikiLeaks also potentially being co-opted by Bitcoin evangelist scammers. A lot of receipts there. What? That's your WikiLeaks?
WikiLeaks.
WikiLeaks. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Ricky. It's WikiLeaks. It's WikiLeaks, right?
WikiLeaks.
Uh-huh. All right.
WikiLeaks. To Julian Assange's.
To the Julian Assange's. Oh, it's the best. Wondering how Kate is doing. Haven't heard from her in a while. You mean Kavishwari Kate? Which Kate are we talking about? Kameshwari Kate has been around in chat. She was here the other night.
Kate plus 8.
But we're also going to talk about, of course, we're going to have a very short Fuck Israel segment tonight, which is not typical, but I mean, there's plenty to talk about there. It's just there's so much else going on this week that I did not really have time to get to that because I really want to talk about Alligator Auschwitz. Not Alligator Alcatraz, it's Alligator Auschwitz. And we're going to bring some stuff that people may not have seen and some stories from the detainees that have come out. And now the Miami Herald published a list today of all the people they suspect to be there because they can't get answers from anybody. And these people can't even get to their lawyers. It's really fucked up. So we're going to talk about that. Then we're going to have a lightning round. And we will then get to boats smashing into other boats. What did you do all week? You made a clip show because Colin decided to go overseas to visit his family, right?
Yep.
Other than that, you've had like the week
Working
off,
on
right?
some new stuff, new assets, generally. You know, had to take Pop to the airport and do all that jazz. You know,
So if anybody's
fun
looking
stuff.
for a co-host, a
Hot.
fill-in
So
co-host, hey, talk to this guy. He's got time. He got time. Yeah, craziness about the upside down world that we live in. What's now legal? What's now illegal? Who's considered to be good? Whatever you want to consider that to be, you know, by government standards. We're going to get to all that. Before we do, support the media you want to see, please. If you like what you see, we appreciate. We are not user funded. Thank you. We are user funded. We are not corporate funded. We don't take any sponsor money. It's just whatever you guys can help us out with. We really appreciate. We certainly can use it. $5, $10, $15. You can do that over at Cash App, $ Indie News Network, co-fi.com/Indie News Network, paypal.me/Indie News Network. And then we have our website. That's indienewsnow.com, where you can keep the media free there. And there's a whole page that you can donate there. And then all over at the Substacks. That's INNnewsletter.com and at IndieMediaToday.com, where we should be live right now. Actually, I didn't even log in to say hello to anybody over there in chat. So I should probably do that real quick. And then I want to get started. So what's happening, everybody? It's been a crazy fucking week. So everybody needs to just forget about that Epstein stuff, right? Like, just forget about it. It didn't happen. Just memory hole the whole thing. Erase your memory. Oh no, it's not live there. What's going on? I don't see it live. No. Is it live over at Substack? It says it is. Okay, I can't quite get there, it seems. Let me see if I can find it in the document and paste it there so I can talk to those folks.
Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
That's sometimes what we need to do. This is a live show, and sometimes live things happen on a live show.
We'll do it live.
No, it did not go live. I don't know why. Okay. All right. Well, we're not at Substack today. Oh, well. Okay. We're live everywhere else.
Is it working? You just got to turn the switch on?
No. I don't. Maybe I didn't put the right key in.
Or you didn't turn the...
No, I definitely
thing? I
have
don't
the
know.
switch turned on, but that's freaking weird. It certainly should be there. U key. Okay, well, let's go back here real quick. Turn this off. It probably won't let me do this because it technically thinks that we're live right now. Or it's live. Yep, I never changed the key. That's my mistake. So now Substack should be going live real quick. Hopefully in a few minutes it'll pick it up. Fred, live nudes. No. Okay. I want to get to our first story because it's kind of a light one, but also it's it's relevant. So we had Prime Day this week, right? Which is hilarious in itself. The fact that they call it Prime Day, but it spans 5 days, 4 or 5 days worth. But Popular Information, who we've talked about in the past, they've not been as high on them as we were, but this one, sometimes they follow the money and they do well. This one was a good one. So I want to play this one for everyone. Hopefully Reef can hear this.
Prime Day is a scam. Amazon sells Prime Day as a once-a-year shopping miracle. So let's talk about the Shark cordless vacuum that Amazon says is 50% off. List price is $299.99. Sale price at $149. It sounds great. But the problem is it never sold for $299.99. The inflated price just showed up in May. Using a price tracking site, we see that the vacuum's average price is actually around $200. It has been $149 multiple times this year. On Amazon and Best Buy, Macy's, Lowe's, and Ace Hardware. The same is true with the Ninja Air Fryer. Amazon says it's 33% off, but it's been that same price or cheaper every single month since November. It's all psychological, and they call it Prime Day even though it lasts 96 hours to make you feel like you need to buy now or miss out. But the same items go on sale all the time, not just on Prime Day and not just on Amazon. So why does it feel like every news outlet is hyping up Prime Day as if it's Black Friday 2.0? Because Amazon pays them to. Affiliate links, where they make 1 to 10% on anything that you buy. But during Prime Day, Amazon doubles those payouts in some categories. So these news outlets are marketing to you, and they profit off of convincing you that you're getting a deal, even when you're not. Prime Day isn't about saving you money. It's about making Amazon $21 billion in 4 days. Let us know what you think in the comments. This is popular information. Read the full report on popular.info and follow along for more accountability journalism.
That's what I want to do tonight, is actually go to the article that brings those receipts, because it's fucking insane what these, she goes over that in about a minute and you're just like, oh my God, that's insane. I can't believe they do that shit. Well, at the same time, I believe very much that they do that shit. That they constantly are manipulating their pricing by the minute. And then if you look at something, apparently when you go back later on to look at it, sometimes the price will be higher. So this again is popular information. Amazon Prime Day is a 4-day sale promoted by the mega retailer as a rare opportunity to secure deep discounts on a variety of consumer items. In reality, they deploy deceptive tactics to exaggerate their markdowns and create a false sense of urgency. Featured items are often available, like she said, at similar or lower prices at other times and at other outlets. But like she said, it's affiliate marketing that drives this. Bank of America estimates that Amazon will rack up $21 billion in sales over the 4 days, up 60% from last year's estimates. So they only made like $14 billion in sales last year. This is up even more than that. In many cases, buyers are being manipulated into purchases with scammy tactics. Like, if you've been on Amazon, you see this and you're like, wow, man, I'm getting 50% off? Okay, but like she said, again, it's never really been that high until right before they did this sale, and now they can show that it was discounted. It's scammy for sure. All right, she showed the Ninja Fryer. Right, here's the Echo frames. Here, Amazon plays the same game with its own products. It's offering a bundle of its newest smart glasses and a smart screen for $240, which Amazon says is a 47% discount off the list price of almost $450. Who would pay for this shit? Who would pay for this shit? Like smart glasses with Alexa built in? Like, I don't want it. I've never had an Alexa device in my house activated. Like, I don't want Amazon listening in on everything I say all the time. Thanks, but no thanks. All right. The exact same bundle has already been offered since the beginning of June for $300. Price was only raised to $450 on July 1st. So the early Prime deal is a sale, but the discount's really only 20%, not 47%. And basically, they're making room for the next year's items. List price inflation has been a systemic issue with Amazon Prime Day for years. In 2022, the New York Times Wirecutter reported that for many featured items during Prime Day, the before price is artificially inflated to make it seem like you're getting a bigger discount than you really are. So, like, this has been a thing. 2019, 2017. All right, that sells foot deodorizers said that Amazon almost doubled its list price on Prime Day. crazy, right? Amazon also engages in a variety. And, look, I try very hard not to buy anything from Amazon, and I occasionally fall sucker to that. But there are a lot of people that still do. They still buy a lot of stuff from Amazon, partly because they're also in some kind of a desert where they can't get to a retail store for a certain amount of time. And it's just easier for them to get to, sure. So for them to be hearing that, you're getting all these great discounts and all these great deals, that's why this stuff is really hyped. Plus, on top of that, anyone that's paying attention to corporate media, it's being blasted at you like these headlines show at the top, because all of them are profiting on these 31 Amazon Prime Day mattress deals. So if you buy a mattress, they're making...
The Wirecutter has done that for a long time.
Yes.
Like the Wirecutter is like the one place I'd be like, all right, I get why they're doing it.
Food and wine, but that's, again, you're getting kitchen stuff.
These are all New York Times affiliated.
Right. It's targeted to a niche.
Yeah.
All right. Amazon also engages in a variety of tactics to imbue shoppers with a sense of urgency to buy items right away. The countdown clocks. This might explain why the company insists on continuing to call the event Prime Day, even though it now lasts 4 days. The idea is to communicate that if a consumer doesn't buy something now, they're going to end up wasting money by buying it for a higher price later. What?
Yeah, no, I mean, it used to be a day, and then they realized, we're just hurting our bottom line by keeping it to that day. Let's do like an entire Steam summer sale, and do a whole week of it,
Right, but still call it day, Prime Day.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, just change the name to Prime Week and you're good.
Right, but that doesn't give as much urgency. The thing is, if you hear day, I got to do it today. Well, that'll be Prime Day tomorrow too.
Right.
It's just so silly. But psychologically, the people that don't realize that Prime Day lasts 5 days, they think it's right now and they don't care that it's tomorrow. All right. These are deals. Amazon says the lightning deals will only be available for a few hours or minutes. The newer innovation is invite-only deals where shoppers request an invitation to purchase items that are expected to sell out. Holy shit. The system is designed to convince consumers that if they're fortunate enough to receive an invite for one of these deals, they should complete the purchase immediately. Of course, the reality is that sales occur frequently on Amazon and other retailers that sell the same products. There's no reason to purchase an item immediately just because Amazon claims it's offering it at a low price. So, this personal finance expert stressed that Prime Day encourages impulse shopping, and we end up buying things that we don't need. Well, not me, but a lot of people do, yeah. So if Amazon Prime Day is rife with psychological and price manipulation, why do media outlets, like you said, again, it's the affiliates. They get the fees. Around Prime Day, they increase the percentage. According to reports, Amazon doubled it this year for some product categories. Let me guess, mattresses and kitchen products and vacuums, like exactly where they're marketing. There's a reason why they're doing it. It's about money. People are more likely to buy products if they believe they're getting a great deal. So these media companies have a financial interest. It's collusion is actually what it was. It might be interesting if somebody decided they wanted to sue an outlet and Amazon for colluding to scam people, because it might work. I mean, they got a lot of receipts there that could do that. So fuck Amazon for that, and fuck all the corporate media for getting in line and publishing their affiliate links to try to scam people into buying stuff, when they don't necessarily need to, and claiming that there's the kind of deal that really doesn't exist. So, word is that he's now looking at buying Condé Nast, which includes Vanity Fair, but also includes Wired Magazine, which has been one of the few publications that has been calling out Trump administration shit, all the digital surveillance stuff that they've been cracking down on. So that's a little concerning. Popular Information is a user-funded outlet. I think, as are we. So if you appreciate the media that we bring and you like the stories that we bring, support the media you want to see with a Cash App, Ko-fi, PayPal, or through Substack or anywhere else, some type of support and tip to the network for the work that we do. Holy crap. And it's a lot. We do this 7 days a week, even when people don't ask us to, because I can't turn this off. So, but yes, I have to every once in a week, I come down here and I kind of dump out. Here's all the shit that's been bothering me that I found that I couldn't find really anybody else talking about this week. And that Prime Day one was certainly one of them, because I think most of the people in my world don't even really use Amazon at this point, or they certainly don't talk about using Amazon if they use Amazon. It's kind of one of those little hidden things that everybody kind of uses, but they don't really talk about because they do what they got to do. Fred is saying there's live nudes over on Substack. Is that right? Did I make it work? Did the thing actually end up working? No, I don't think it did. I don't think it did. Bummer. All right, let's see. One more time. I'm going to click that link and see if it worked. Right there. Are we live? No. Oh, well. So be it. Now, if I turned it off and turned it back on, let's see if that does it. Oh, sorry, everyone.
Turning it off and back on again?
Did you try turning it off and turning it back on again? Because it says that it's streaming there, but Substack doesn't see it. So let's turn it off and let's turn it back on again. And maybe it'll work. Okay. So, what's up, everyone? Driving Me Macy, good to see you. Sean the Accord Lord, hello, sir. Natalie, how are you? Hope you're feeling better. Oz the Boomer, love you, brother. Stay away from my chickens.
Stay away from my chickens, Oz.
Yeah, Steam is a ripoff. Sean's saying I totally agree with that because I don't play games. So yes, it would be a ripoff for me for sure.
Both you are wrong.
Fred Edwards saying he did get a 40-inch flat screen for $69. Is that where you got your live nudes on Substack? Okay, now I see it. Now we're live. Hi, everybody. We're live on Substack. Yay, a little late, but we're here. You guys missed the first story. We covered popular info, but we'll be back. We got plenty more here for you. We're going to do, what's the next story? I don't even know what the next story is. Come on, Andy, get with it. Get your shit together. Oh, we're going to talk about my friend Gordon Dimmack. Gordon Dimmack. Okay, so Gordon, I think I'm going to get to the thing that he tweeted first. I want to talk about that first. Okay. Holy shit. This scares me. I love Gordon. Gordon is an Indie Media Award honoree, top journalist 2023. All right, independent, user-funded. He's been outspoken about Palestine action and about what the UK is doing. We read an article of his last week talking about the contrast between independent media and him talking with someone who worked in corporate media and how they couldn't get a story published. He wrote an article this week. Hold on a second. Let me just close my bookmarks real quick. That'll show even more of the screen. Thank you. And we're back. Okay. He wrote an article this week about WikiLeaks. We're going to talk about that in a minute. But he published this last night. I woke up to this morning and I went, oh, man. And apparently it's gone viral. So what Gordon writes is that he's got a declaration of conscience here. My name is Gordon Dimmack. I am a journalist and a citizen of the UK. On Monday morning, I will walk into a police station and peacefully hand myself in. Why? Because I support Palestine action and I have encouraged others to do the same. Under the Terrorism Act that now carries a potential 14-year prison sentence, not for harming anyone, not for inciting violence, but for supporting people who oppose genocide and encouraging others to do so. This is the state of the country in 2025. I will not plead ignorance. I know the law. I know the risk. And I am making this decision with full awareness that the state may try to make an example of me. Let them. Because if we now live in a country where saying I oppose genocide is treated as a criminal act, if peaceful solidarity with those who resist arms dealers is now considered terrorism, then the problem isn't me. The problem is the law. The problem is the state. The problem is the moral vacuum swallowing this country whole. This is not just about Palestine action. This is about freedom of conscience, freedom of expression, and the criminalization of moral clarity. If they want to arrest me for standing on the side of humanity, they're welcome to, but let the record show I will never apologize for doing the right thing. Let history remember that I stood up, and let it remember every name, every badge number, every uniform that tried to silence those who dared say not in my name. I oppose genocide. I support Palestine action. And if that makes me a criminal, then so be it. And as you can see, that's had almost 500,000 views already on Twitter and has 5,500 repeat reposts and 15,000 likes. And then a lot of people criticizing him and a lot of people supporting him. I just told him that I'm worried for him and I support him in whatever he wants to do, because I sent him a direct message this morning and I love him. And I would not do that myself. I'll tell you right now. I appreciate it. I don't know. I mean, certainly he wants to be potentially made an example of. I mean, they may just laugh at him and tell him to go home. I wanted to get your take on that because you said you had not seen that tweet today.
Well, no, actually, I think I saw it yesterday when he was doing the same thing. But I know he's not alone. There was multiple people who actually stood out in solidarity with civil disobedience. Like, that is the thing I feel like people should be doing in the UK, especially. You know, like, now is the time to risk it for the biscuit. So, the more of you that do that, the harder it is for them to actually prosecute all of you, So,
yep. But they'll figure out a way to manage is what I'm worried about. And the AI may help.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, Steve Gill, very interesting. You say
people that Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, very interesting that he mentions Gordon was fighting for Assange from the jump. Fuck the UK. Because of the next article that I'm about to bring. And that may make you scratch your head a little bit. Not scratch your head, but think a little bit twice. And it made me think twice. And like I said, I've been waiting for somebody to write this article and to talk about this. Because I didn't want to be the first one. I didn't want to be the only one. And I certainly don't want to be the subject of massive attacks from a community that I really enjoyed being a part of and believe in. And I'm worried that we've been sold a bill of goods and nobody's asking the hard questions that 2 years ago we would have asked. I feel like we kind of got soft because they let Julian out and we kind of took our feet off the gas because, well, let everybody go home. We did it. But we didn't. And Gordon points out here in his latest article at gordondimac.com, his new WordPress website. I encourage everyone to subscribe to that. Again, support independent media. Gordon's independent. He wrote an article this week that says, WikiLeaks is dead. This is its ghost. It's not WikiLeaks anymore. It's WikiTWEETS trademark. Which I totally agree with. He says, far be it from me to defend Tony Blair. But when WikiLeaks, yes, WikiLeaks, starts throwing around claims about Blair's Institute being involved in a so-called Trump Riviera plan for Gaza without publishing a single document, something's seriously wrong. Earlier this week, the official WikiLeaks account posted a tweet claiming that leaked documents showed the Tony Blair Institute was involved in post-war Gaza reconstruction fantasies, complete with artificial islands, tax-free blockchain zones, and Elon Musk manufacturing hub, and the Piece de Resistance, a Trump-branded coastal resort. Because, of course. But it turns out, that's not the case at all. So this is the tweet from WikiLeaks. All right, this was on July 9th. He says it sounds like a dystopian parody, but there was no document, no source, just an image of a glossy investor pitch and a wall of buzzwords. And then, in a follow-up, they linked not to a leak, not to a raw cable, but to a paywalled Financial Times article. Let that sink in. This isn't journalism. It's branding. This isn't the WikiLeaks that published Collateral Murder. It's not the WikiLeaks that exposed the inner workings of empire through primary documents. This is something else entirely. This is what happens when a once radical organization gets gutted, co-opted, and turned into a ghost of itself. No documents, no verification, no transparency. Just innuendo, headlines, and hype, baby. The exact tactics that WikiLeaks used to expose in others. It's heartbreaking because it's not just WikiLeaks. This is the pattern. TYT in the United States was taken over and neutered by a DNC kingmaker, Jeffrey Katzenberg. The Labor Party was gutted, repainted, and relaunched as a PR consultancy. Even Assange's own defenders bent the knee to politicians who stood shoulder to shoulder with Israel while it starved Palestinians in Gaza and jailed David McBride for telling the truth about their crimes. Every force that was once anti-establishment eventually gets colonized by the establishment. And now it's happened to WikiLeaks too. Sorry, coughing.
Coffee?
Coughing.
You go down the wrong hole?
No.
No joking. Not allowed.
Whoa, I just lost my breath there for a second. It wasn't coffee going down the wrong hole, though.
You all right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Gordon continues about when clarity gets you misread. What's worse, I pointed this out publicly, that the Tony Blair Institute was only shown promoting a two-state solution at a conference, not involved in designing mega projects or pushing Trump-branded hotels. And now people are in my mention saying, I support a two-state solution and that I'm defending Blair. No, I'm defending the truth. I'm defending the idea that if you're going to accuse someone of something, even someone like Blair, you better bring receipts, especially with someone like him. I mean, for Christ's sake, this is the Tony Blair we're talking about. It shouldn't be that hard, and it wasn't. The fact that saying this out loud makes people suspicious.
It's a Tony Blair with a two-state solution. Still fucking stupid.
Yeah, but the thing is that it actually came from Boston Consulting Group, right? Yeah, BCG, right? The fact that saying this out loud now makes people suspicious of you, tells you everything you need to know about the state of journalism, activism, and public discourse in 2025. We've traded transparency for tribalism, receipts for retweets. Dude, that is epic right there. Receipts for retweets. We've exchanged receipts for retweets. I fucking love that. And just to make things crystal clear, Gordon or I do not support a two-state solution. I'm also not categorically ruling out the TBI having Orwellian plans for Gaza or any plans being drawn up by the Boston Consulting Group aren't evil. They may well have and may well be. It's just that the evidence presented so far is not even worthy of mention, at least not with the framing of that Tony Blair or his institute was behind these plans. That's sensationalism, something WikiLeaks used to oppose. That also is, we covered this plan 14 months ago. All right, Ynet reported on this Gaza 2035 plan with those exact same AI drawings. Now, the only thing that I saw added were those little points on a map, but who knows where the hell that actually came from. Certainly not in the source documents. Where's the link to the original? So he continues about WikiLeaks, calling it the ghost of what once was. There was a time when WikiLeaks was feared because it let the public think for itself. It didn't tell you what to believe. It showed you the documents and let the truth speak. That's why governments wanted Assange dead or buried. That's why it mattered. Take the OPCW leaks, for example. In 2019, WikiLeaks published internal documents from the Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons. A lot of people don't know what the OPCW stands for. They just hear that terminology a lot. It's literally the Organization to Prohibit Chemical Weapons. That's all they do, is study what are chemical weapons. Now, it showed that investigators raised serious doubts about the alleged chemical weapons attack in Douma, Syria. This is 2019. One leaked engineering report even suggested that the gas cylinders had likely been manually placed and not dropped from the air, which would directly contradict the official Western narrative. And when did all this happen? Conveniently, just days before Julian Assange was dragged out of the Ecuadorian embassy by British police. First, the truth comes out. The man behind the truth gets locked away. Within months, the leaks stop. The document drops dry up. WikiLeaks, the publisher, goes silent. That was the last time they acted like the organization they once were. Everything since has been surface level, noise, vibes, and branding, a ghost of its former self. This Twitter-era WikiLeaks isn't feared by anyone.
And who's running that again?
Kirsten Hernofson, or maybe CIA, or MI6, or some kind of combination of that all. Who's running the anonymous account right now? All right. This Twitter WikiLeaks, again, isn't feared by anyone. It's not dangerous. It's not disruptive. It's just nostalgia merch. A blue check account coasting on the credibility built by a man who spent 14 years rotting in detention of one kind or another. And now they're citing the Financial Times, a legacy media outlet, behind a paywall. No upload, no link to a leak, just gated journalism filtered through corporate media. If Julian Assange were still in control of WikiLeaks, there is absolutely no way in hell he'd ever endorse linking to a Financial Times article hidden behind a paywall and calling it a leak. Let's not forget that WikiLeaks called that a leak. It's a betrayal of everything WikiLeaks once stood for: transparency, source material, radical truth-telling. Take the most recent report that Gordon made on the IAEA leak that proved that Israel were in cahoots with the IAEA in directing Iran's nuclear program, despite the fact that Israel isn't even a party to the IAEA. The leaked documents showed Israel feeding surveillance and strategic intelligence directly into the IAEA decision-making processes about Iran. They were credible, time-stamped, and clearly authentic, and yet WikiLeaks didn't touch them? Al Jazeera published this.
Why?
Instead, they linked to a TASS article, that's Russian state media, quoting an anonymous intelligence source. No documents, no archive, just hearsay. Meanwhile, they had no issue amplifying a Financial Times paywalled piece about the Tony Blair Institute. Again, without a single source document. That's not just behind the curve. That's a complete reversal of what WikiLeaks used to be. The place you went to see the evidence for yourself. If you're uncomfortable reading this, ask yourself the question, why are WikiLeaks ignoring leaks of nuclear importance while tweeting out tenuous leaks Tony Blair has the plans for Gaza? So he says, here's what the FT leak evidence actually shows. And let's be clear about what's real and what isn't. Yes, staff from the Tony Blair Institute attended meetings discussing post-war Gaza reconstruction. Yes, they submitted a paper focused on a two-state solution as part of those talks. no, they did not write or endorse the infamous investor slide deck that included references to a Trump Riviera or an Elon Musk smart manufacturing zone. And no, they did not promote resettlement plans or branding schemes for Gaza. That deck came from Israeli entrepreneurs and Boston Consulting Group, not the Tony Blair Institute. In fact, the TBI explicitly stated that they had no role in producing the slides and did not support their content. This was all covered in detail by the Financial Times, The Guardian, and even Middle East Eye. The Blair Institute's only link was their presence at the conference and the contribution of a policy paper about governance, not glitzy tourism zones or blockchain trade. This isn't defending Tony Blair. This is defending factual accuracy. If we want to hold power to account, we have to do it properly with receipts, not vibes. All right? So, WikiLeaks is dead. It was replaced. Proceed with caution. Now, again, Steve Gill said in chat that Gordon is one of the most stringent, longest time fighters on behalf of Julian Assange and WikiLeaks. Well, at least on behalf of getting Julian Assange free, which was accomplished. But that was in the hopes that WikiLeaks would actually end up being restored as an organization in some way, shape, or form. And now he's seeing the exact opposite is happening, that it's effectively being utilized as a tool for imperialism in corporate media while ignoring actual leaks of substance.
Well, didn't we hear?
Go ahead.
I was going to say, didn't we hear that, like, the last time we heard Assange talk himself, that he might get back to work? I think that was the last message, right? When was that?
That was at that conference in the fall that we covered the live stream. That was like not an AMA, but an ask me a specific set of vetted questions with my wife and WikiLeaks founder, WikiLeaks CEO sitting next to me, where I could answer something. All right. Yeah. Birdhouse Blue is very funny. Yes, it's kind of hard to find a reliable breaking news account on X. I'll tell you what it isn't, and we covered that. Dominic Michael Trippi. I would not trust anything that guy said either. He's a propaganda factory. We all know that.
You almost want to just mute the phrase breaking news on Twitter. You'd probably do pretty well.
Breaking or alert. Yep. All that stuff is just hype machine stuff. All right. So, Gordon, I love Gordon. I want Gordon to continue publishing. I really hope Gordon doesn't get locked up tomorrow when he turns himself in. And he's 6 hours ahead, so I don't know exactly what time he gets out of bed. But I'm guessing that's probably going to happen in the next couple of hours. And I will be very curious to see what happens once we get off of here.
Good luck,
so
mate.
Good luck. I love you, Gordon. Really, seriously, be safe. So the other thing about WikiLeaks was, I believe that our brother Golden Monarch is in the chat already. If not, he will be soon, I'm sure. Check out goldenmonarchdomain.substack.com. He also decided to write an article this week. Now, this is really long. I can't go through all of this, but I did want to scroll through it really quickly because there are a lot of important points in this article that I want people to pay attention to. And then I want them to go to this article and go through the whole thing and be like, holy shit, look at all these receipts that are here. And this is crazy. But he's suggesting that Gabriel Shipton and WikiLeaks are also co-opted by Bitcoin evangelist scammers, which would kind of fit with the Tony Blair Institute that's also in bed with BlackRock and all these banks. That's Gabriel Shipton. That's Julian's half-brother. Golden Monarch writes, through the combined efforts of people all around the world who advocated and chanted for free Julian Assange, to Vivian Westwood, Jennifer Robinson, all right, who ironically represented a certain Amber Heard in 2020. The journalists such as Richard Medhurst and Kevin Gostola and Matt Kennard, Joe Loria, Chris Hedges, Julian Assange, founder of WikiLeaks, a cypherpunk and a journalist in his own right, is free. Hooray! And now 1 year has passed since Julian has been reunited with his wife, Stella Assange, previously known as Sarah Gonzalez Davant Morris, and their two children. These days, Julian has been laying relatively low, with Stella and WikiLeaks updating directly to viewers about Julian and any goals going forward when involving Julian, most notably the urging request for the U.S. for the Trump administration to, quote, pardon Julian Assange, unquote. Effectively, both Stella and WikiLeaks are speaking on behalf of Julian, not so much Julian himself. There's another individual, Gabriel Shipton, or more accurately, Gabriel Barber Shipton, Julian's half-brother, whom we need to talk about as well. There are a few glaring observations of both WikiLeaks and Gabriel as of late that I don't want to write about, but it's painfully clear to me that these two, like Stella, have developed or gained a disturbing trust with pro-establishment Bitcoin figures who have used the Assange family and Julian's name to promote Bitcoin into something far, far worse. So he gets into a Stella recap. All right, and here are some other links and articles and things that you can read about some of the things that she's been up to, about Jack Dorsey or Andrew Tate, who funded Julian's $500,000 flight to Australia out of prison. I don't know. Was it even Michael Saylor? It might have been. Right? And then he's got a couple articles that he's written about this, about Festival de Cannes, and that was where Julian had all the names of the murdered Palestinian children on his T-shirt, but didn't really say a word the whole time. And took smiling photo shots. He did talk to Stefania Marizzi. We read that article last week, but it was all very like positive vibes and feels and not talking about any real issues. He says, last year I wrote what might be considered controversial, but it was a much needed discussion concerning Stella and her continuous support of Bitcoin per Julian alongside Bitcoin establishment figures. Stella knows what the crypto industry and its influencers like Michael Saylor of Strategy and Natalie Brunell of the Coin Stories podcast and Ludmila Kozlowska of the Open Dialogue Foundation and Jack Dorsey, the former founder of Twitter, represent. They represent dystopian freedom using half-baked, half-proven, decentralized, quote-unquote, blockchain technology for means of privacy and to be independent of government or banks, which, of course, they're not.
Which, speaking of banks, right, if you remember correctly, there was some, what was it, Sweden? There's a particular bank there, right? Happened to try to take a bunch of their money. I think there was some lawyers that worked on that. I wonder what they're doing now. Probably some not great things.
I wonder.
But
so since Julian has been freed,
follow the money around
as always. Stella has effectively narrated on what and where Julian will be present at. For example, back on April 26th, she stated that now that he's free, we've all come to Rome to express our family's gratitude for the Pope's support during Julian's persecution. Our children and I had the honor of meeting Pope Francis in June of 2023 to discuss how to free Julian from Belmarsh. Francis wrote to Julian in prison and even proposed to grant him asylum at the Vatican. At first, a new pope. I love that. Eurotrip. Shout out to Eurotrip. At first glance, what's wrong with the statement? Well, nothing other than its timing. While much of establishment media, as always, was overly reporting on the next pope to succeed Francis, which became Pope Leo, a.k.a. Robert Francis Prevost, the Chicago guy. So not really. He's the White Sox fan. Stella had only made commentary about the Pope as well as referencing Easter. You mean to tell me Stella or WikiLeaks had nothing to say about Gaza, ICE, that's immigration and customs, CCOT, or even growing crypto scams and corruption coming from both the crypto industry and the Trump administration?
Or then any of the wars that have been happening in the Middle East, any of those that he used to talk about frequently.
we know how she feels about Navalny in Russia. I mean, we know that they've been effectively, kind of turned against whatever happened with that, and they seem to support Ukraine in some weird, because either they haven't figured out that was a NATO op the whole time. I don't know. On May 21st of this year,
or they're kept from actually knowing.
Well, both Stella and Julian were seen at the Cannes Film Festival, the international festival hosted in France. The screening of the film, The $6 Billion Man, is a documentary showcasing Julian's battle
to rebuild him.
Well, maybe, but it's a battle showcasing
his battle better than ever before.
His battle to not face extradition to the U.S. Just for publishing classified documents like the Afghan war logs, the Iraq war logs, Democratic private emails, the Sony Pictures hack. A lot of people forget that one. The question at hand is not the documentary itself, rather the presence of a growing, gatekeeping Hollywood-esque surrounding Julian, particularly because of Stella, who, by the way, highly praised its director, Eugene Jarecki. Of course she's going to. The Festival de Cannes may seem independent, but once you take a close look at its partners and sponsors, JP Morgan, Nespresso, MasterCard, Dolby, etc., one has to wonder whether Stella knew everything as described here, including the mysterious donor who paid in Bitcoin for nearly all of Julian's flight, who made it financially possible for Julian to return to Australia. Right? Then we have Julian himself, and there's links to a timeline of his Assange's legal journey. I think he has a graphic of that. All right. It caused us to invest in Bitcoin, talking about how he was an early investor in Bitcoin. I thought this was really interesting. Monarch actually sent me this before he published it and asked me to proofread it. And I really, this part hit me. But speaking of Stella, I certainly wonder how Julian is personally doing. Not counting what Stella or WikiLeaks say about Julian. Now, remember once, a long time ago, that man said that you never let anybody else speak for him and don't take what anybody says he said on face value. You only take it from him himself. We have not really heard very much from him himself. So he'd like to know any personal developments related to independent journalism, Bitcoin, the crypto industry, the U.S. following the previous Biden admin, and once again, the Trump admin. Down below are a list of significant events, including that of the U.S. invasion of Iraq, to WikiLeaks being founded, to Chelsea Manning pleading guilty on espionage charges, to ultimately Julian being released. But there's a few things that are missing here, which is really interesting. All right, there are other major events coinciding with this, right? The 2008 financial crisis. And then what about the cryptic Bitcoin white paper, which was mysteriously released out to the public in 2008? This is where it gets interesting. In 2011, WikiLeaks had no choice but to start accepting Bitcoin donations due to the banks and financial institutions restricting them from using their platforms for donations. It's quite ironic that the once mysterious blockchain that financially funded WikiLeaks and Julian with well over a whopping 50,000% return has been completely now taken over and co-opted by technocratic oligarchs. These oligarchs have been actively present since the 2008 financial crisis. Yep, as well as arguably the creation of the NSA, featuring an early business relation between Boris Hagelin, an early investor of AB Crypto Enic.
Good luck.
Okay. And William Friedman, who was the chief cryptologist. Cryptotehidnik. Yes. So, again, he references Stefania's article that we talked about last week about how Julian can't file a FOIA on his behalf.
FOIA.
All right, to find out what they knew and when. But as Monarch writes this, other journalists, writers, and independent leading advocates are still waiting for a public Ask Me Anything Julian Assange, or even an in-depth one-on-one interview with a trusted journalist to answer some of the lingering questions about his imprisonment and about his mindset. It is painfully obvious that there has been, or continues to be, a blanket of censorship cloaked around Julian. Either Julian is a willing participant, or technically, he's still then in some form of prison. People want Julian.
We don't know what.
Go ahead.
I mean, he's going to get to it. I mean, about the forced choice to either plead guilty or risk spinning the test of right. Like, he had to plead guilty to this. That may have included some deal to keep him from saying anything on top of that. You know? So, I mean, we know they've kept plenty of journalists from saying stuff recently through legal action. So it doesn't surprise me if that's part of this as well. That deal essentially had fine print,
Well, here's a few things that Monarch listed out that he'd like to hear Julian's perspective on, and everything he's had to endure, including neglected deaths of fellow prisoners, the forced two choices of either plead guilty or risk spending the rest of your days in a maximum security U.S. prison. How do you weigh that decision? Julian simply wanting to just get updates to different matters. How did you manage to get updated on things while you were in Belmarsh for 62 months? Or did you care? I mean, I know people came to visit. What Julian's perspective is on crypto, including Bitcoin, what he understands about its evolution, the 180-degree flip on the acceptance and embrace by the banking and financial community since he went to Belmarsh. Do you think he would still be supportive of Bitcoin now that he knows that all these major hedge funds and banks and everybody are behind it when they demonetized him for investing in just that to begin with? I don't know.
Yeah.
Does he still hold any? That's also a good question. Does he still think that it's a future currency?
Also, I have still yet to believe that him pleading guilty does nothing. They all said that that's would be the case, but for some reason I don't believe that. That I think him pleading guilty will absolutely have ramifications still. We haven't seen it quite yet, but it's the reason why they're not going to pardon him as well, because it at least puts precedent.
Well, publishing classified material is now considered illegal and will be prosecutable because of this as a precedent.
Yeah.
Even if it's been sourced, even if it's in the public interest, even if it's XYZ, now they can say, hey, publisher. So
I definitely remember WikiLeaks trying to downplay that, So
yeah, this is all at goldenmonarchdomain.substack.com. All right, he gets into WikiLeaks and he even posts about Michael Saylor. What's interesting is that in 2013, Michael Saylor thought that Bitcoin was a scam. And there was that thing about $1 billion worth of Bitcoin over 14 years from a $7,800 cost basis. It was actually, I think, $8 billion from 78,000. But what is still up with WikiLeaks still accepting cryptocurrency? And it isn't just Bitcoin. You can donate to WikiLeaks using Bitcoin Cash and Litecoin and Zcash and Monero and Azov fucking Nazi Ethereum. Additional cryptocurrency options to be announced. They're not done yet. And let's pretend that WikiLeaks didn't deliberately state on its website that you can read up on each crypto either on their official website of said crypto or Wikipedia. Oh, come on. WikiLeaks is now linking to Wikipedia? Sure. And let's most certainly pretend that among WikiLeaks partners, the Washington Post, the New York Times, the Intercept, the Wall Street Journal, etc., are not among the list of said co-publishers, research partners, and funders. WikiLeaks, or better yet, the Sunshine Press, posted an interesting update per Gabriel Shipton's new project, the Information Rights Project, and we're going to talk about that soon enough, right? And then we talked about that wallet that went that lit up with 80,000 Bitcoin in it, that sold out for 109,000 a coin. All right, where they only paid 78 cents per coin. Right, the other 6 wallets contain 60,000. This gets into the details of exactly how much was sold and when and what. It was a total of at least 80,000. Whose wallets are these? Well, technically, 2011 was the earliest for select few users to be extremely aware and knowledgeable of Bitcoin, how Bitcoin transactions and trading works. Based on the cryptic behavior of the OG constantly buying Bitcoin at 78 cents, he had initially thought of Sailor, who was anonymously buying Bitcoin at 78 cents. But no, it's not them. When he first mentioned Bitcoin in 2013, he initially thought it was a scam and that their days were numbered. He didn't have an epiphany until 2020 when he completely flip-flopped and dedicated his commitment that his company would buy Bitcoin regardless if it pumped or dumped. All right. Another OG consideration is the infamous Silk Road guy, Ross Ulbricht. So he speculates on who might have cashed out this wallet. All right. These numbers associated with Ulbricht do pale in comparison. See, that's the thing. Ulbricht once had a wallet of 430 Bitcoin, not 10,000, not 80,000.
Yeah.
All right. So these numbers pale in comparison. Nonetheless, this was worth comparing because wallets that have been dormant for over a decade have become active again in tandem with the U.S.'s hard push by billionaires, politicians, and financial institutions to adopt crypto. There is no doubt in Monarch's mind that these resurgences of old wallets are contributing to hyper volatility of the price of Bitcoin. For sure. So again, he pushes my note there about that we covered from last week on the show about the post and the transaction, which again descended all out with a single click and no test transaction, also is a tell to me. It tells me that they didn't really know what they were doing. Because they could have been sniped. Anything could have happened. They could have lost all that 80,000 Bitcoin. Holy shit, no test transaction? No to make sure that it was going to go through and be clean? No, you could have lost the whole thing and been fucked? So this is where he gets into how Gabriel Shipton is still promoting Bitcoin, right? But it's really weird. You've got the Assange DAO that they raised a ton of money for, that all of a sudden that money was gone, right? There was already an NFT project. I didn't even know there was an NFT project that helped free him also. That's not even the DAO. Gabriel, much like Stella, as well as his father, John Shipton, has spent years advocating for Julian's freedom from Belmarsh prison. Shipton, an award-winning Australian film producer, got involved in the Assange case starting in 2019. His brother had already been persecuted in an embassy for 7 years. In 2019, he was actually locked up in Belmarsh. Gabriel is previously known for his contribution to films such as Mad Max Fury Road, Emu Runner, and Ithaca, A Fight to Free Julian Assange, which was premiered around this country, by the way. Starting in 21 or 22, Gabriel got involved in crypto alongside Stella, specifically to raise awareness of Julian's condition in Belmarsh. Beginning with the NFT project known as Censored, in partnership with the mysterious digital artist Pack, the project raised $77 million, which went towards the legal campaign to free Assange. Wow, his lawyers got $77 million. Somebody got it. Gabriel says that he had never even met the artist. I don't even know if it's a him. I assumed it was a him, but I never met him or them. Crazy, right? But then there was this Assange DAO token. It originally launched in late December 2021 under a Telegram group, which Gabriel later joined. A few years later, in June of 2024, around the time that Julian announced that he was going to be released, the DAO token climbed in value over 80%, only to drop in value soon after. a short time period for insiders to get in and get out. So like anyone that knew that he was going to be getting out of Belmarsh could feasibly have dumped the token the moment they announced it when it spiked. As of right now, Assange DAO is currently undergoing revitalization with its community determining what its new mission will be. And who gets to determine that? Well, conveniently, it's Stella, Gabriel Shipton, and Jennifer Robinson.
Yeah.
They can veto proposals harmful to Assange, ensuring the DAO's actions support his case. But now his case is just to be pardoned. So now he gets into this Project Spartacus. Earlier in April, Charlie Spears, who's the co-founder of Block Space Media and a board member of the Oklahoma Bitcoin Association, oh my God, invited on both Gabriel and Bruffstar, co-founder of OrdinalsBot, to discuss Project Spartacus. That would enable WikiLeaks to log 76,000 plus Afghan war logs on Bitcoin and on the blockchain. The effort, however, will not be done.
NFTs.
Right. But no, it will not be done to directly raise funds for Julian, but to commemorate Julian's story as a part of Bitcoin history. What the fuck is that nonsense? What? I am eerie about Bruffstar, who describes himself as both an AI and ChatGPT maxi. More like a maxi pad. Respectfully, what the hell is Gabriel thinking? Partnering with someone like Bruffstar and Spears to put archived Afghan war logs into a not so decentralized blockchain. How would that even be done? Why would Gabriel put a level of trust or confidence toward blockchain-based projects where not all of its participants may be openly honest, who may be using the legacy of Assange for self-promotion, and who may have their own conflicts of interest involving other industries, such as big tech and the military-industrial complex? Bitcoin, especially in the centralized hands of billionaires and financial institutions, who've now hoarded most of it and financially fund big tech and the military-industrial complex, is worrisome. So he has some huge doubts about Project Spartacus, and he lays that out here. All right. Then he did a one-on-one with Everett Fenigson from the podcast You're the Voice. I don't even know who that guy is. Two previously met in El Salvador. No shocker, given that El Salvador is a recurring place for Bitcoiners to meet, all while Bitcoiners stay completely silent and ignorant of President Bukele's corruption per Bitcoin CCOT, pro-Israel stances on business and technology, right? This guy's literally a former IDF soldier. And he's meeting with Gabriel, described as a freedom and Bitcoin maximalist and a chief marketing officer of global companies with a tech background of 20 years. I'll bet he was in Unit 8200. Fenigson was featured by the Wall Street Journal.
Definitely.
He was featured by the Wall Street Journal as one of Israel's top 2022 tech leaders. He's no independent journalist.
Oh, for sure, then.
Oh, shit. It's a she. Even better. She's part of the crypto industry grift, interviewing and promoting toxic individuals from the likes of Michael Saylor to Caitlin Long of Custodia Bank. All right, and he's got a whole list of people there.
Max Kaiser.
Right.
Crypto and everything else that you're playing with.
Well, that's Joseph Kelly of Unchained, right, who has ties to those people. But this is all in promotion of Bitcoin. This is the thing I wanted to bring up, was the latest project that Gabriel was involved. Now, again, I think that the idea to put the Afghan war logs. Now, first of all, Gabriel isn't WikiLeaks. Why the fuck is he negotiating anything having to do with WikiLeaks? To put the Afghan war logs onto the Bitcoin blockchain?
Family business, I guess.
Except that he has no specific title, as far as I knew, at WikiLeaks. All right. On June 26th, WikiLeaks announced Gabriel's recent launch of the Information Rights Project an Australian charity fighting for the right to information. The people of this charity consist of Gabriel, who's the director and chair, Greg Barnes, SC, who is the director and deputy chair, Harry Bunton, and Navina Spirskova. And the best or worst part? Anyone can donate to this charity using either Bitcoin or Bitcoin Cash. Why? What are Gabriel and WikiLeaks still doing by co-opting crypto projects as well as accepting crypto donations? Don't they know that by promoting crypto, they're giving crypto a soft approval, given that its latest scandals involving the Trump family, its obvious linkage to gambling, and its abhorrent red flags of being a Ponzi scheme with the elites? Then there was the whole thing about the Plan B forum. They are all attending this thing in Lugano, Italy. That's where they'll all get together next. They did that last year as well. And that's a whole other big Bitcoin evangelist jerk-off session, effectively. All right. As if that's not sad enough, the Plan B forum is a joint effort driven by the city of Lugano and Tether. Tether, which of course is run and controlled by our Commerce Secretary, Howard Lutnick, and Cantor Fitzgerald. All right, now, I don't know if Stella's going to attend. I know that Gabriel, and I think Stella's supposed to attend.
Mine's on.
You've got the CEO of Tether, Paolo Ardolino, who just also invested a ton of money into Rumble. Look at that. Bitfinex! Come on, I need it. I need to hear the Bitfinex. I need the sound bit. Okay, you've got...
What? Do you?
Bitfinex. Chris from Rumble. Dominic Bay. That's what I meant. Dominic Bay, we've talked about Dominic Bay before. That's the firefighter dude out of the Santa Monica Bitcoin office nonsense bullshit. Proof of workforce. It's proof of scamming.
Cryptocurrency, dude.
Right? It doesn't matter whether Julian attends because Stella and Gabriel will be going in lieu of Julian, which will be interpreted as Julian giving approval. What was that now? Never meet your heroes in real life. They almost always disappoint you. It was the rest of that sentence. So, again, that was Golden Monarch. I'm sorry to be Buzzkill Bill on this one, but it's starting to now, the questions are starting to be asked. What the hell happened with WikiLeaks? What the hell happened with Julian Assange? What do we make of the entity now and what they are trying to accomplish? Are they really about press freedom? Have we heard about them speaking out on the Terrorism Act in the UK? No. Have we heard them speaking really about much of anything other than retweeting? Like Gordon called it, WikiTWEETS. Crazy. Well,
WikiLeaks.
We do not want Bitcoin and we don't want your cryptocurrency, but what we do want is for you to fund the media that you want to see like this, because I don't know too many outlets that are going to bring Gordon Dimmack and Golden Monarch talking shit about WikiLeaks from a perspective of the people that admired the shit out of WikiLeaks and loved them. But we can certainly use your help. Cash App, $ Indie News Network. ko-fi.com. That's ko-fi.com/Indie News Network. We've got paypal.me/Indie News Network. We've got the website indienewsnow.com where you can keep the media free there. And then we've got the INN newsletter and indiemediatoday.com. Both of those, INNnewsletter.com. Actually, we got a new monthly subscriber on the board. Thank you to P. Ryan this week, who picked up a new monthly subscription over at INNnewsletter.com. $8 a month. Thank you so much, really. It means the world to us because I put a ton of time and effort into getting that stuff out there, every day for everyone. Some kind of an update. I didn't put one out this weekend, unfortunately. It's been a crazy busy family weekend, so I was lucky to even get here for the show tonight in time. But yeah, it's really sad. John Harps is saying the only WikiLeaks is when John Wick has a piss. Very funny over on Rumble. Hello to everybody over on Substack. Good to see you, everybody out there. I see Earl Brownlee, and I see Decensored News popped in, and I see my friends Descent in Bloom popped in. We're going to read her article very soon about Alligator Alcatraz, because that's really bad. All right. Very quickly, before we get to that, I would like to get to a couple of things very quickly about Israel, Gaza. Fuck these motherfuckers. Shout out to Paula Iacella, another Indie Media Award honoree for activism. She has been publishing one of these every day on Facebook. Anti-War's been retweeting and resharing it. I have too. This one was today's, and she updates the day every day, and she puts a little note about what happened in the last day. But we're now at 133 days for Gaza without food, water, or medicine. The Israel aid plan, quote unquote, for Gaza is a key part of its strategy to corral Palestinians into concentration camps to kill or expel. This is the final stage of ethnic cleansing. The Gaza Health Foundation, quote unquote, aid sites are human slaughterhouses. The aid system is a tactic of Israel's genocide. The clock is ticking since March fucking 2nd. Disgraceful. Now, I am not normally a fan, and I would not normally bring an Abby Martin tweet, but she posted one that really got me today. And you can see it went freaking viral as hell. More Palestinians have now been massacred simply lining up for food than the total number of civilians killed on October 7th. So screech to me about October 7th again. Fucking cunts. Now, the third thing that I wanted to bring was a Guy Christensen piece about revoking citizenship for criticizing Israel. And that's U.S. citizenship. And this is serious as a heart attack. And you can see, he says, this is serious, guys. So let me play this because I do want to get to the next one very quickly.
If you criticize Israel and you're an American, you should know that our government is now looking to take away your citizenship. You heard me right. I'm not playing around. This is serious, and you need to know about this. On June 11th, the Department of Justice was empowered by the Trump regime to start a denaturalization push, which means taking away the citizenship status of naturalized citizens in this country. One of their stated goals was, quote, ending anti-Semitism. And while the memo the Department of Justice released on June 11th outlined a bunch of criteria of why somebody may lose their citizenship status, which include being deemed a national security threat, the Department of Justice left the door open and gave themselves what is essentially a blank check to go after any case that they deem should be denaturalized. Zionism is destroying our country, and with it goes our rights. This is exactly what has happened here, and it's the direct result of not stopping the Zionist lobby from buying our elections, and with it, most of our Congress members. We must all come together and resist the violation of our rights. We must stand up and oppose this genocidal regime and end it once and for all, because if we do not, they won't stop here, I promise. Suppressing and criminalizing critics of Israel will serve as a model for the Trump regime to protect itself against its critics and its dissidents in the future. I know no one wants to live in a world where criticizing Donald Trump loses their citizenship status and lands them in exile. So please share this message, encourage people to join together to take action, protest, and find ways to resist this regime. You can support my work in my bio. Thank you, and free Palestine.
The only thing that I will say is that lavalier mics, you could just clip it on yourself, Holmes. You don't need to literally hold the fucking thing to speak into it. I don't know why everybody does this, or you could just clip it to a Metro card like some other fucking douchebag does.
Yeah.
All right. Free Palestine. Better say free Palestine. Fuckers. All right. And, this dovetails into a story about apparently Rosie O'Donnell. All right. Trump was talking shit this weekend about Rosie O'Donnell and how he wants to revoke her citizenship because she's so happy in Ireland. Like, this is dangerous shit. And nobody, I certainly don't see any Democrats really standing up for this because they're pro-Israel. So they don't seem to necessarily, they don't see that after he's done with them, he'll come after the people that tried to prosecute him? Really? No, I'm not bagging on this homie and his mind. Dude, I love Guy Christensen. I give him a lot of credit. Mac 9135 over on Twitch.
Fucking Mike.
No, dude, you can't. There's nothing that bothers me more than talking into that stupid little mic.
Fucking fix your TikTok hair.
It looks like you just got out of the shower. All right, leave him alone. All right, well, so for all those things, fuck Israel and fuck the United States for doing this on behalf of Israel and for playing cuck to Bibi Netanyahu and Yoav Gallant and Smotrich and all these fucking clowns. All right. Israel Katz is another one. So, there's plenty of monsters. They just reinvent. They don't die. They multiply. They're like Day-Day's kids. All right. So please, we're not going to get remonetized by YouTube. INN has not been monetized. By the way, we hit 2,500 free subscribers to YouTube, INN, youtube.com/Indie News Network. So go subscribe over there and share over there. Please do. Again, support the media you want to see. $ Indie News Network over on Cash App. ko-fi.com/Indie News Network. PayPal.me/Indie News Network. At IndieNewsNow.com. That's our self-hosted website. And then over at the Substacks at INNnewsletter.com, where P. Ryan became a new member this week. And at IndieMediaToday.com, where Natalie Williams re-upped for another year. Thank you so much for your annual membership. You can see Natalie is one of the highlighted folks who has been extra good to our network that we certainly want to give special thanks to, really. It means a ton. All right. Okay. Here we go. Holy shit. What have you heard about Alligator Alcatraz or Alligator Auschwitz? I'm going to bring a couple articles from Dissent in Bloom. This is going to take a minute. And man, it's going to be horrifying. And we're going to watch a couple videos, and I want to get your take. I think people will have different takes on this. But what she writes is that the first videos of Alligator Alcatraz came out from a janitor trying to go viral. And what she finds is that there are lights on 24/7, sub-zero AC intense, no showers, no sunlight, no lawyers, just cages, guns, and silence. She says the first rule of a concentration camp is isolation, not just from family or legal counsel or the country that disappeared you, but from the idea that anyone anywhere still remembers your name. At Alligator Alcatraz, there are no windows, no outdoor time, no darkness. The lights stay on 24 hours a day. The air conditioning is set to near freezing. Detainees sleep in cages under tents that glow white at night, under surveillance, under silence. There are no clocks. There are no visitors. The noise comes from the vents and the footsteps and the keys, but never the voices of the men inside. It's not even officially a prison. It's a processing center. It's run entirely through government contractor Garter World, who got an $8 million contract this year to run the camp. That's not a lot of money. $8 million for projects that are in the billions. All thanks to the Trump administration. It's a place that we now know the State Department plans to send women, children, and the elderly to. That's what makes it worse. Deprivation of natural light and time is a method of psychological torture used at Guantanamo, in black sites, in solitary units from California to Xinjiang. It distorts the brain. It dissolves memory. It flattens emotion into survival. Over time, it strips away identity. The UN defines it as a human rights violation. In America, we now call it policy. One janitor lasted only a few days. On his Snapchat 2 nights before he was fired, he shared from his pod in the camp, "Y'all not going to see this nowhere else. I'm showing y'all the first week. They treating this like Hitler shit back then. It's nothing like that. At least right now it ain't." But before he knew it, he was fired, terminated for recording inside the facility. It wasn't long after that his tone changed. There were no more jokes or smiles. He told everyone on a TikTok live that it's a fucking concentration camp. He's disappeared from the job. The camp hasn't disappeared. But he didn't leave. He got thrown out. He didn't leave because of what he saw. He left because he got fired. For 4 days, he showed up, he did the job, and he made his content. He rode the trucks across the compound, joked about the cold, filmed the tents, and laughed at the setup like it was something out of a movie. He didn't describe it as torture. He didn't raise the alarm. Not until they kicked him out. He wasn't warning anyone. He was building a following. Then they found his posts, pulled him from the floor, put him on unpaid leave, investigated, and fired him. Only after that did his tone change. But before he was fired, he posted a few clips. A clip inside the tents, a ride to the bathroom in a truck. We're going to get to that in a minute. A few seconds of fluorescent lights and silence. Some went on Snapchat, some on TikTok. Most of them are gone now, either deleted, removed, maybe archived. I guarantee you they're archived at Fort Meade. In one clip, he can be seen smiling and dancing in the bathroom. And that clip is in this video I'm going to show in a minute. But today, on TikTok Live, he said he has more. More footage, but he won't share it. Not unless he gets paid. Not unless someone gives him a reason to risk what's left. He says, I need a lawyer. I got fired for this. He's not trying to be a hero. He just wants the protection, a check, and a guarantee. So until then, the only first-hand images of Alligator Alcatraz exist in fragments, flickers from a phone screen, posted by a man who didn't speak out until he lost his job. No press has been allowed inside. No members of Congress. There is no inspector general making sure it's humane. You aren't even allowed access to a lawyer. I've never even heard of that in any facility anywhere. No access to a lawyer? What? As of now, janitors deleted clips.
Right away.
Janitors deleted clips scattered across reposts, half-remembered live streams, and dead links may be the only evidence one ever sees. She said that she has several of them herself that she saved, and she took notes because she won't forget. She won't allow it to be forgotten, and she promises you that she won't charge us to know what she knows. Her articles will never be behind a paywall. Support independent, user-funded media. But everyone, please know that this is how the camp survives. How all concentration camps survive. It's not by hiding, but by making sure that no one looks too closely. And if they do, they're immediately removed and placed on a do not return list. So now she says inside the camp, there are no fire alarms in Alligator Alcatraz. How could they possibly get away with that from a building inspector perspective? No sprinklers, smoke detectors, or fire suppression systems. If a fire were to break out, there would be no warning system in place to alert the men inside. The structure is entirely temporary, quote unquote, built from industrial tents and aluminum framing, but the risk is permanent. The space has been designed to hold people, not to protect them. Inside the tents, the temperature stays cold enough to sting. Industrial air conditioners run without pause, pushing a constant current of freezing air across rows of metal cots. Each detainee is given a thin blanket and a pillow upon arrival. There are no additional layers. There is no climate control inside the cages. The cold is part of the condition. There are also no private bathrooms. In the center of every cage
looks like
stands a single metal urinal that's fully exposed, visible to everyone around it. There are no walls or partitions, no place to wash, and no functioning showers for detainees. How quickly before disease breaks out through those tents? Staff have not reported access to hygiene supplies or clean changes of clothing. The urinal is not an exception to the design. It is the design. The lights never turn off. Fluorescent panels mounted to the steel beams above remain lit 24 hours a day. The tents glow at night from the inside out, visible even from a distance. There's no nightfall, no morning, no evening, just a sustained white light that removes all sense of time, like Vegas. There are no windows and no clocks and no sun. Detainees lie on their cots beneath constant surveillance, wrapped in blankets, freezing, watching the light without blinking. The gates have keypads. The inmates never leave the cages. There's no noise inside the cages beyond the mechanical. No music, no voices, no televisions. Many of the men don't speak English. Most of the staff don't speak Spanish. How convenient. There are no translators. Yep. There are no posted instructions or visible policies. The men are not told how long they'll be held or what their legal status is. Some, according to staff reports, have green cards. Others face criminal charges. Most remain in silence. The facility is built to house 3,000, but the former janitor stated that there were no more than 500 people there when he'd been terminated. Meals are served once per day, sometimes twice. The food is not spoiled, but it is limited. There's no consistency in portions or timing. Water is controlled. Wow, it sounds like what they're doing to the Palestinians. Starvation plus.
Yeah. That's where they learned it from.
Staff who attempted to give out extra food or water were reportedly reprimanded or in some cases fired. One resigned after being warned not to interfere. Another was removed for trying to pass an extra bottle of water to a detainee. Attempts to humanize the system were labeled breaches of protocol. The janitor who shared this information worked the night shift. On a TikTok live, he said he did not witness physical abuse during his time at the camp. He didn't see anyone beaten or hear reports of spoiled food. He said most of the people building Alligator Alcatraz were Hispanic, which is sad. The ones driving the trucks, setting up the cages, working the night shifts in silence. The ones keeping the lights on, the ones locking the doors. They didn't need guards with guns. They had the same men this country would cage if the wind shifted. They were building the thing that could one day swallow them whole. But what he described in detail was a system that did not need violence to achieve its goal. All they really needed was 24/7 lights, ice-cold rooms, and starvation. All it takes to keep a population docile. This is not a jail. It's not a detention center with due process or oversight. It's not designed to hold people for a fixed term or a specific charge. It's a space engineered to keep them still, out of sight, and indefinitely forgotten. So she reminds us that those who do not learn from history that in 1933, before the ovens, before the camps had names the world would never forget, Germany opened a facility at Dachau. It was not called a death camp. It was called a protective custody center. People were held without trial. They were separated from their families. They were kept behind barbed wire. At first, the government insisted it wasn't that bad. In 2025, the United States has built Alligator Alcatraz. It's not called a prison. It's called a processing center. People are held without trial. They're separated from their families. They're kept behind chain link fences in a tent surrounded by swamp. The government insists it isn't that bad. They'll tell you this isn't a concentration camp. They'll point to the food, to the air conditioning, to the lack of mass graves. They'll tell you that it's legal, that it's temporary, that it's policy. But they won't show you the cages. They won't show you inside. They won't let you look for yourself, because if they did, you might see what it really is. Again, there are no fire alarms, no windows, no outdoor time, no contact with the outside world, no clocks, no lawyers, no language, no sound. The men inside are not being punished for a crime. They're being held until the state decides what to do with them, until they agree to disappear themselves. Self-deport. Keep them in there for 6 weeks, put them in front of a judge and ask them, would you like to go back there or self-deport? Nick Hope was just a teenager when he survived Dachau. Decades later, the terror had not loosened his grip. Still, there are nights his dreams take him back to horrendous starving years in Germany at Dachau concentration camp. I say, no, 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 everything is over. It's over. But it wasn't over. Not really. The barbed wire is back. The language has changed, but the structure remains. The ghosts of the past are watching now, not just to remind us, but to warn us. This is not the end of a horror story. This is how one starts. So I wanted to show the video. So let's do that.
Yeah, I took a bite. This shit was decent. That shit pure ass. I'm on here for the money, so fuck this.
I'm here for the money, so fuck it. That shit's pure ass. This is where they do laundry, obviously. They're laughing about big mosquitoes on his coworker's ass. He's dancing, he's getting ready to go to work.
Shit crazy, because they say we ain't got no days off for this whole month. Cool. 12 hours every day. Cool. It's for the money, right? Cool.
It sucks sleeping with the sun out, dog. I need some shades in the bed. They only got like, what's like 9, 10, they only got like 5 hours sleep. Waking up every fucking hour. That's how you know a nigga slept. No bitch. You wake up and you release that gas. That gas from last night, that bitch go, it's one of those silent first. That bitch go, phew.
Laughing about farting in the morning.
Y'all boys, this small ass little room, that bed got some AC in that hole.
So check this out.
This shit gets so cold.
This is the room that they have him sleeping in.
That's the real reason why I kept waking up. Nigga had to turn this bitch off. Felt like it was about 50 degrees in this bitch. Small ass room.
So you can't regulate the temperature.
There's somebody in the room next to me that's sleeping above me. They're not in my room, but they literally like right here.
They're not in my room, but they're living like right here. His ass is right there.
So this how the fuck we gotta get around. This our little dorm shits.
All right, so here, this is our little dorm shits.
And we gotta hop in these little bitches right here.
So check this out. Those are trailers, like side by side. The bed splits the room. So you're literally like half the room is a bunk bed for you, and half, and like the up space is a bunk bed for the next guy. Like, that is just fucking crazy how they're packing people in like that. But wait, it gets worse. Watch this.
And this is just for the employees.
This is for the people that work here.
You finna go?
No,
watch this.
Oh, okay.
Like that will look like a jail cell.
So y'all gotta look for a ride to take me to the fucking bathroom.
I gotta look for a ride to take me for the to the fucking bathroom. Now watch how far away this is.
You see all the way down there? Bathroom.
That, look at this, he's in a golf cart. He's gotta get a ride just to go take a piss in the morning after he gets up. Go past guards. Get checked to make sure you're supposed to be there. And then he's got to run because he's got to piss.
And then the shower is on the opposite side. I'll show y'all the shower. I'm gonna show y'all the bathroom real quick.
Right, the employees are given access to showers and toilets, but the detainees are
good
not.
Morning. Oh, good morning to you. It's the bathroom, dude.
at 7. I'm about to take my ass outside, make a diss song to this motherfucking nigga bored out there bit. Y'all niggas need to follow me on TikTok, man. I need to get to 1,000 followers on that bitch. So a nigga gon' live. Go.
All right, it's none like that, at least right now. I'm gonna be going live. Follow me on here, right? Thanks for going live.
Oh, box turtle.
His live ended after night 5, after his job was terminated.
Back in my city. Tomorrow when I'm able to go live again, I'll go live. And I will do a recap to let y'all know what went on. My live restriction should be off tomorrow at around like, I think it's at like 8 o'clock or something. So that's when y'all can tune in to the live. I'll be answering all questions, doing a recap of what happened.
New post every 500 followers.
Support and make sure
keep sharing my page. As soon as I hit 10K, I'll be fully exposing and posting everything.
Shit, I'm gonna keep doing this for y'all. They already fired me, so it's like, shit, fuck it at this point. What y'all gotta understand is, no, I'm not trying to profit off of this, but I did lose my job doing this just to put this message out there. So y'all gotta look at it from my perspective. I gotta get something out. I'm gonna talk more about it, but just know a lot of officers quit just because they were trying to help out the residents / inmates, and their bosses kept telling them, if you help them out, like give them water, take them to the bathroom, you will be fired. If you want videos, information, any of that I haven't posted yet, you're definitely gonna have to come correct. You're gonna have to pay for it because I'm not gonna go out like that.
In another life?
Can't play the music or I'm gonna get hit.
Yeah, music. Hold it.
Yep.
Yeah, you be.
So again, follow. You see, she just set up a YouTube account at Descent in Bloom. She's actually in chat now, so you can follow her right there. Give her a follow. I still like. I'm a little shook seeing these videos, and now let's get to the next part of it. And here's the video that she had put up, that same video on Substack, again, to make sure that if YouTube decides to take it down, it's already up here. But she says he wasn't a hero, not at first. He was a janitor with a phone trying to go viral from the inside of the belly of the beast. He danced in a bathroom. He cracked jokes in the staff truck. He filmed the cages like it was a set piece for some dystopian TikTok. No captions, no outrage, just vibes, cold ones. And then just 4 days in, the government contractors caught on. They pulled his badge, froze his pay, launched an investigation, and tossed him out like he was the problem. And that's when his tone changed. But not before. Because let's be clear, he didn't leave Alligator Alcatraz because of what he saw. He left because he was fired for showing it. The system rejected him for not for sounding the alarm, but for turning on a flashlight. And only after they kicked him out did he say the words, "It's a fucking concentration camp." Let that timeline haunt you. He wasn't trying to warn anyone. He was trying to build an audience. But in the age of manufactured silence, even accidental truth can be explosive. Even a janitor's social media can shake the walls if someone saves it in time. Descent did. Before they vanished, she saved the clips, the bathroom, the truck, the tents, aglow like morgues. Not because he meant to document a crime against humanity, but because he accidentally did. He says he has more, but he won't release it unless he gets a lawyer or a check or both. He isn't playing hero. He's playing survivor. And frankly, I don't blame him. He already saw what happens to people who speak. The camp eats them alive. But let's not confuse his motive with the message. Alligator Alcatraz isn't hiding in the shadows. It's right there in the Florida sun with no windows, no clocks, no fire alarms. It doesn't need barbed wire when the world's too distracted to look. It survives on your apathy. It grows in your disbelief. While the messenger is no angel, the message is still there. This man is cloaked in self-interest, but he told the truth eventually, and that's more than the government ever has. He's since bragged on TikTok Live stating that he already has another job and starts Monday, by the way. I'm conflicted with him because, again, like she says, he didn't mean to necessarily expose this. He chose to go work there. And then we find out just how bad it is. So, oh man, all right. I don't want to do either one of these things. Here we go. Again, with the ad blocker thing.
Yeah, just refresh and then hit the X.
All right, fine.
I told you to hit the X.
What X?
So refresh the page.
Yes, sir.
And then hit the X before it, so it doesn't load the rest of the page, or just hit reader mode, top right.
Oh, there we go. So this is a Miami Herald article, and I hate bringing corporate media. You know, I can't stand bringing corporate media ever. These guys actually did a really good investigation. The calls from Alligator Alcatraz's first detainees brought distressing news. Toilets that don't flush, temperatures went from freezing to sweltering, a hospital visit, which turned out to not be much, giant bugs, and little or no access to showers or toothbrushes, much less confidential calls with attorneys. And somehow all of this is either legal or not being prosecuted. The stories, relayed to the Miami Herald by the wives of detainees housed in Florida's makeshift detention center for migrants in the Everglades, offers the first snapshots of the conditions inside the newly opened facility, quote unquote, which began accepting detainees on July 2nd. They reveal detainees who are frightened not just about being deported, but also about how they're being treated by the government, which is saying little about what's taking place inside, which we know why. Why would we treat a human like that? A woman whose Venezuelan husband is housed in Alligator Auschwitz told the Miami Herald. They come here for a better life. I don't understand. We're supposed to be the greatest nation under God, but we forget that we're under God. The men whose identities the Herald is withholding due to their families' fears that the government will punish them for speaking out, described harsh conditions at the detention center, pitched as a new model for holding migrants, and snared in President Trump's war on illegal immigration, even though they're putting green card holders and people who are here legally. The state, which intends to eventually house 3,000 or more people at this site, has said the detainees' descriptions provided to the Herald are untrue, with no receipts to show otherwise. Trump speaks, okay, so that's him speaking at this facility while he toured it. So they gave you like a very rudimentary walkthrough, exactly where they wanted you to see, sanitized. Bugs and environmental factors are minimized in the facility. Restraints are only utilized during transport outside of the detention centers, and visitation arrangements can be made upon request. That's what the statement for spokeswoman for Division of Emergency Management that oversees the facility. All plumbing systems are working and operational. Prove it. Detainees are telling their families a different story about what it's like to live in cells inside heavy-duty tents erected on an airstrip in Big Cypress National Preserve. On Monday afternoon, for instance, word spread quickly across the detention facility that a detainee had suffered a medical emergency. One by one, detainees started calling their family members, relaying different versions of what they believed had taken place. Nobody knows. Nobody talks. Outside the detention center, Betty Osceola of the Miccosukee tribe saw an ambulance leave the facility around 2. The ambulance headed east toward Miami with its lights on, and later returned to the site, Osceola told the Herald. HCA Florida confirmed that a detainee from Alligator Alcatraz arrived at its Kendall Hospital for care on Monday, but they were actually released. State officials denied there had been a medical emergency on site. Spokeswoman called it fake news. After this article first published online, a spokeswoman for DHS acknowledged on Twitter that the detainee had been sent to the hospital, but said he wasn't admitted and was returned to the detention center in an hour and a half. Right? While the state says that the detainees, are sharing the stories that detainees are sharing with the Herald are false, various scenarios described by 3 women in separate interviews are matching up. Why does that not surprise me? The women told the Herald that their husbands were unable to shower for several days after arriving. On Sunday, 2 women said their husbands complained that initially there was no water to flush toilets. All 3 detainees told their wives that the bugs were getting inside. One said that grasshoppers the size of his hand were springing into the tent and that the biggest mosquitoes he'd ever seen were flying over them in their cells. Maybe the guys are hoping that they get malaria. One detainee sent there from a Florida jail following a dispute with his ex was bitten on his face by mosquitoes a few times in his sleep, he told his wife on Monday morning. Another detainee who was arrested for driving without a license 3 days before arriving at the facility told his wife he couldn't take the conditions anymore. A 4th detainee, a Cuban reggaeton artist, Limsy Izquierdo, told CBS News and other local media outlets that the lights are on inside the facility 24 hours a day, a detail corroborated by a Venezuelan detainee's wife interviewed at the Herald and by that worker. Izquierdo was transferred to the Everglades site after landing in Miami-Dade's Turner Guilford Night Correction Center on assault and battery charges. He pleaded not guilty. Inside the facility, detainees say there are no clocks. There is scant sunlight coming through the heavy-duty tents, making it difficult for them to know whether it's day or night. The temperature, again, is also a cause of concern, not just that it's freezing, but a Guatemalan detainee told his wife that he was unable to sleep on Monday night due to how cold it was in the tent. By Tuesday afternoon, the same man told his wife that it appeared the air conditioner had stopped working and it was really hot inside. Of course it was, according to a recording of the conversation obtained by the Herald. His wife told the Herald he was detained while he was a passenger during a traffic stop with Florida Highway Patrol. He wasn't even driving.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Then you had, a state representative told the Herald after hearing complaints about the conditions, tried to get in and was denied. Since inviting some members of the press to tour the site prior to the arrival of the first detainees, the state has blocked her and other lawmakers from entering, ignored the Herald's request to visit the site, and left family members and at least one attorney guessing about how to get in touch with their loved ones and clients. Katie Blankenship, an attorney and co-founder of the Sanctuary of the South, a legal services network, said Tuesday she'd been unable to get in touch with a new client whose wife called last week, saying her husband has been transferred to Alligator Alcatraz from the Chrome Detention Center in Miami-Dade. We talked about how bad Chrome Detention Center was, too. She doesn't have a number to call him at the facility. His name isn't showing up in an online website kept by ICE. She's asked ICE officials to confirm his whereabouts, but she said her emails have gone unanswered, and the wife hasn't heard from her husband since he was transferred. It's again, this is a longer article. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. But when a report, the wife of the Guatemalan detainee said she was trying to get an immigration attorney to represent her husband, but she was having trouble finding someone to take the case because of the lack of information regarding his whereabouts. When a reporter asked her what she plans to do, she paused. Wait, there is nothing else to do. Not even the attorneys can do anything. So fuck ICE. Fuck the Trump administration for what they're doing. And also, don't forget that this is just one facility. Don't get like kind of focused on just one. Because our friend Andy Worthington, another Indie Media Award honoree for class of 2024, one of the best, closed Guantanamo guy, all right? He wrote an article this week, and I'm not going to go through it. We're running long. Guantanamo and Trump's new extraordinary rendition program for migrants. So right now, he said there are migrants from 26 nations being held at Guantanamo, with 26, including a UK citizen, named as having criminal convictions. Are they really criminals? And does Trump really want to deport them to third countries? Meaning that they're willing to now deport them to countries that they're not from. As Trump holds 72 migrants at Guantanamo from 26 countries, including the UK, what is his long-term plan? And that's an article that he wrote at andyworthington.com. Okay, the disturbing news that in recent weeks, around 60 migrants have been flown to Guantanamo, bringing the total number held at present to 72.
You can't handle the truth.
Like, we had it down to a dozen. This seems to be a revival of the use of detention facilities on the naval base, which began with the arrival of 178 Venezuelans in February, but then tailed off after legal challenges and after the administration was embarrassed by research establishing that, although they were all described as dangerous gang members, this was demonstrably untrue. But in a new twist, seeking to overcome these earlier embarrassments, DHS has published a list of naming 26 of these men and alleging that all of them, including the British national, have been convicted of serious crimes, although, via an internet search, I'm unable to verify any of these crimes. Very weird. Okay. What the administration's intention is remains unclear, but two options seem probable. Sending men with criminal convictions to Gitmo, if these claims are true, may enable the administration to claim that it can hold them without charge or trial, replicating the model used in the existing War on Terror prison, or it may be a prominent way to deport them to third countries, as recently happened when 8 men from a variety of countries, all allegedly with criminal convictions, were sent to an unknown fate in war-torn South Sudan. How many are they going to send into Gaza?
Yeah.
Drawing analogies with the extraordinary rendition program of the Bush administration and the often flawed resettlements of the Guantanamo prisoners in third countries under Obama and Biden, Andy examined a recent and commendable New York Times investigation into 58 countries that administration officials have approached or want to approach regarding taking in migrants who are not their own nationals. The only way that the New York Times is going to do any kind of a commendable investigation is if it's exposing something about Trump, because they're TDS. So he says, I also discussed the 7 countries who've already agreed and raised the alarm about the threat of the worst abuses of the War on Terror being revived under Trump and his senior officials, who seem particularly motivated not to safely repatriate migrants, but to defy protections against torture or even death by sending them to unsafe destinations where any rights they should have will be unenforceable. I also sound a similar alarm about the increasing expansion of unaccountable hit squads disappearing people on the U.S. mainland and the creation of new detention facilities reminiscent of Guantanamo, with Alligator, Alcatraz in Florida as the first example, and highlight with the very real prospect that without ferocious resistance, the $175 billion allocated to ICE in Trump's big, beautiful bill will lead to a horrendous police state expansion of disappearances and gulags across the entire country. As I stated in my conclusion, resistance is necessary by all means available. Again, support Andy if you can. Support independent media. Andy is also only exclusively user-funded. So, wow. What do you think about that, folks? Fuck, dude. Frightening.
Wow.
Mac 9135 over on Twitch. The World War II Germans studied America to learn how to oppress people. Better a little history. Yep, that's true. How we treated the Native American population is also the model for how Israel treats Gaza and the Palestinian people.
Yep.
But it's crazy. Great articles by Dissent in Bloom. Great stuff. Good stuff by the Miami Herald, even though I'm not a big fan of theirs. That was a crazy article. All right. And good stuff by Andy Worthington. Where else are you hearing about these facilities? Not too many places in independent media. So if you can fund the media you want to see and support outlets like this that will amplify writers and journalists that talk about this, please do that here. Cash App, $ Indie News Network, ko-fi.com/Indie News Network, paypal.me/Indie News Network, at the Keep the Media Free section of IndieNewsNow.com, or over on Substack at INNnewsletter.com, or at IndieMediaToday.com. All right, I've got a few more stories that I want to bring really quickly, and then we will get to boats, I promise. First of all, hey, did you know that Twitter did something good for once? This video, I put up a video. I was just testing and playing. 4 minutes and 28 seconds. Now, I don't know if you remember, but there was a 2 minute and 20 second video limit on Twitter forever. Unless you bought a blue check, you could not post a video of longer than 2 minutes and 20 seconds. They have now apparently expanded that. And they did it months ago quietly without anybody knowing. So somebody actually replied to me under here. Yeah, fuck Twitter. Well, in this case, not so much, but usually, yes. So we find an article from Root Note blog I'd never heard of. X quietly increases the maximum video length for free users April 15th. How did this get past everybody we know? That you can now post a video up to 10 minutes long via the web and via 6 hours using the app? All right, but there's also a file limit of, according to them, there's a file limit of 512 megabytes. If you subscribe to premium, it's 4 hours and 16 gigs. However, via the app on desktop, as they discovered that day, while the 512 limit is still in place, the maximum length now seems to be exactly 9 minutes and 59 seconds for free accounts. When attempting to upload a 10-minute or longer video, you'll see the familiar duration of the video you tried to upload was too long message. All right. Same thing on iOS. 5 hours, 59 minutes, 59 seconds is when it goes to drafts. Interesting. I was able to post some more short clips that were made out of Substack with the captions over here to Twitter, which is really interesting. I didn't think that they would want us to potentially do that and drive more people over to another platform using that video. But I guess they figure if people watch the video there, they're winning too. So that's Twitter. Now, somebody mentioned Caitlin Johnstone earlier when we talked about WikiLeaks and Julian Assange. Yes, she was a tremendous and still is a tremendous fighter for press freedom and Julian Assange. I picked up a note of hers this week. If you're just tuning in, it turns out that Al-Qaeda in Syria are not terrorists, but the peace activists in the UK are. The guy committing genocide in Gaza says the guy backing his genocide deserves a Nobel Peace Prize, and Jeffrey Epstein was a misunderstood angel who killed himself. When your world is upside down. But it's not even just that.
Yep.
Here's Trita Parsi saying the same thing. The man below is the founder of Al-Qaeda in Syria. The U.S. just took his organization off the terror list. Yep. And lifted sanctions on him. The woman below is the UN rapporteur on Israel and Palestine. The U.S. just imposed sanctions on her. Let that sink in. And solidarity with Francesca Albanese. She's a badass. And that's Jelani, who was a terrorist and still is a terrorist. It's just that the U.S. doesn't think that he's a terrorist at the moment because he's helping somebody's national interest, like Israel's.
They did once, though.
Right? Now, I mentioned about people that weren't able to get into Alligator Alcatraz, but that wasn't the only facility. Here's another one where U.S. representatives were denied entry into downtown LA's detention center.
I am the U.S. representative, a member of Congress that represents downtown LA. We also have Representative and Congresswoman Norma Torres, Congresswoman Luz Rivas, and Congressman Lou Correa, who sits on the Homeland Security Committee. Under federal law, we are allowed to do drop-in inspections of any facility that's holding migrants or undocumented immigrants.
Hi, everyone. So I'm here at the Detention and Processing Center in downtown LA with Norma Torres. We wanted to kind of come and give you an update. We are still being denied entry into the facility, which it is our right by law to conduct oversight on the well-being and the conditions of well-being of these individuals, also the conditions of these facilities. These folks, all of a sudden you see that folks are wearing masks. I'm holding a wet tissue. Norma has a mask is because they're spraying some type of irritant into the air to push us back. But the people here are not, these are mostly attorneys. They're members of Congress. There's people with organizations. They're the press. And they're spraying something to get us to kind of leave. Somebody said that it was because of the protesters on the other side of the building. There was only about 20 of them. So this is really just to kind of prevent us from doing our jobs.
They told us, I think it's important to know also that they told us to wait to wait here on the side, so they know that members of Congress are waiting here for them to come out and talk to us or to allow us in. And for them to deploy the chemical agent not once but now twice is unconscionable. If this is how violently they are pushing against members of Congress, wanting to have some oversight as to how many people are being detained there, how many officers were injured yesterday. These are liabilities not just for the city of Los Angeles but for the federal government. How many businesses did they impact yesterday by completely shuttering them because of the raids and the violent actions that were demonstrated by federal agents yesterday?
Who are you guys? It's fucking crazy. Like, that's legit. They need to know that shit. And they're just not finding out. Trump admin's like, fuck you, you don't get to know. Yeah, spraying is wild, Lone Star says that. And again, they didn't say it because they don't know what it was, but we have an idea of what that stuff was that they were sprayed with, and the IDF has been using it on Palestinians. It could have been tear gas, it could have been a bunch of stuff, but it sounds like it was the skunk, which smells bad and is irritating to the nose and eyes and throat. And
I feel like one of them would mention the smell of it. If that was the case.
Well, why would they need a gas mask?
You know,
well, I mean, some kind of a mask to breathe through.
I mean, again, it's like CS or any other dispersant.
I got another thing here about UPS. All right, now I don't know if you heard about this, but UPS offered buyouts to drivers. Now we've talked about UPS and the Teamsters, which is what a lot of the UPS employees are. So here's where we go. How do I unmute? Where's the mute?
Down, top right.
Oh, top right.
Top right of the thing. There you go.
Drivers for the first time in 117 years. And you can thank tech.
Let me refresh that.
Crap, Jack. UPS is offering buyouts to drivers for the first time in 117 years. And you can thank tech and AI for that one. So UPS said on Thursday that it's offering buyouts to full-time U.S. delivery drivers as a part of the company's largest network reconfiguration ever. They went on to say, for the first time ever, in recognition of these unique circumstances, we are looking to offer our full-time U.S. drivers the opportunity to participate in a voluntary program that would provide an opportunity to receive a generous financial package if they choose to leave UPS. You should never sell out. But don't worry, the financial package that'll be available to the drivers will be in addition to any earned retirement benefits, including pension and healthcare. Trying to make it sweet. Now, the company added that each driver would have the ability to decide if this voluntary program is beneficial to their family and the plans they have for their future. Oh, how nice. Teamsters aren't having it. President Sean M. O'Brien said UPS's buyout plan is an illegal violation of the contract the union struck with the company that undercuts its agreement to create 22,500 more jobs. Yep, that's not happening. So I guess UPS said in late April that it would cut around 20,000 jobs this year as a part of a plan to lower costs and improve efficiency. So UPS's network optimization plan, called Network of the Future, envisions closing 200 sortation centers over 5 years and increasing automation for handling packages. Dozens of facilities have already been consolidated in the past year. Oh boy. So here's the real reason. So this whole thing is a multi-billion-dollar initiative focused on modernizing and automating its logistics network to improve efficiency and reduce costs, make more money and pay people less. This involves consolidating facilities, increasing automation, and integrating advanced technologies like RFID, AI, and robotics. They're even using digital twins. A digital twin's a virtual representation of a real-world entity or system like a physical object, process, or even a person. It's essentially a digital replica that mirrors the physical twin, allowing for simulation, analysis, and optimization in a virtual environment. Yeah, if you think your job's safe, you might want to go and look and see what AI is capable of, because obviously it can do pretty much anything. And that's a wrap.
So UPS drivers are getting fucked, and the Teamsters aren't going to do anything to stop it because they didn't build in the protections in their contract to stop it. Now, I got one or two other things here really quickly. The curious case of the lifelong Democrats from China. I like bringing this writer, Conspirador Norteño, who's actually over on Blue Cry, but also on Substack. All right. Now, what they do is they follow the botnet activity through the open graph on Blue Sky. Now, you used to be able to do this on Twitter, but Twitter blocked the ability via their API to do that. But what he found was that there were a bunch of these brand new accounts, all created within a certain amount of time of each other, all right? They're part of a spam network that as of July 8th consisted of 22 Blue Sky accounts with the biography, quote, female from China, currently living in the U.S., lifelong Democrat, ban assault weapons immediately, no spam or solicitation, encryption, anything, no porn, especially no fake news, no, anything, like same exact kind of profile with similar, right? Similar accounts with different repeated biographies started popping up recently as well, albeit in smaller numbers. These bios include, I'm a woman from China. I hope there will be no racial discrimination here. I agree with political views of the Democratic Party. Like, this is just shitlib bots. So if you want to learn all about the shitlib bots on Blue Cry, follow Conspirador Norteño. They have it down to the profile pictures that are being ripped off and manipulated. And notice you can't see anyone's face in total. They might even be using thispersondoesnotexist.com to generate those profile pictures. We covered that on this show a long time ago. Yeah. All right. That's who are these people, literally? Right?
We're fucked.
No.
Yep. Who are these people?
That's what I wanted to do. Okay. All right. No. Finally, I wrote an article this week. Actually, I recorded a video. It's a how-to. I don't normally do this, but I want to get more into Indy's Tech Tips, which is a channel that I had put together to help people that want to learn how to publish and live stream and do all the stuff that we do at INN. I do this all day long, every day, and I've got a lot of experience, over 2,500 posts published to Substack. So I thought I would teach and help people with all the little tips and tricks and walk you through uploading and creating a video post on Substack, which I published and went live. So by all means, if you're interested in doing that, check out this tutorial, Substack video post creation. If you go to Indie Media today, it's up there, but also it will be under Indy's Tech Tips right there. There's a whole section just for tech tips. So check that out. Finally, we also have IndyNewsNow.com. That's our news website. I mentioned it earlier for the Keep the News Free section where you can support and tip via Stripe. But also we're bringing in articles from all and videos from all different sources. All right, from The Dissident to The Last American Vagabond and James Roguski. All right. We've got Odyssey videos from different channels. We've got Rumble videos coming in from AM Wake Up and from other channels like Mob Rules with Harps. That fucking cunt from Australia. Love him. He's my brother. My brother Harps. Dave DeCamp, antiwar.com. We're pulling in a lot of anti-war. We're pulling in A Skeptic, which has their own Substack every day. And again, anytime you go to any of these links, you'll actually be able to go to the actual publication itself and to the article at that publication. We're not trying to grab all that content and keep you here to sell ads. We don't sell any ads on this website. All right. By clicking on that, what it did was it showed you just all the articles on this site by askeptic.substack.com. So you can sort down by a creator to see just the articles that are on the site from them as well. So check that out. There's the Reese Report, and we've got another one here from Dave DeCamp. Pentagon admits an Iranian missile hit dome used for communications at the U.S. Qatar base. Interesting. Check that out. Again, you'll be able to link to anti-war news right here over from IndieNewsNow.com. And then we've got our merch store, finally. Where how better to represent INN than to get an INN t-shirt. You can do that over at indienewsshop.itemorder.com. You get there, you get hats, t-shirts, beanies, hoodies, tank tops. We got it all there.
Look at my shirt, little bitch.
Buy my merch, little bitch. That's right. And that's a Big Frog store. Shout out to Ryan from the Independent Review who runs that store for us. And really appreciate that. All right, man. I knew we were going to run a little bit long. Sorry for all that, but I had a lot with this Alligator Alcatraz stuff I wanted to get to. One last time, if you're able to and it means, please support the media you want to see and support independent media like us. Cash App, $ Indie News Network. Ko-fi.com/Indie News Network. PayPal.me/Indie News Network. And at IndieNewsNow.com. And at INN Newsletter and IndieMediaToday.com over on Substack. We're going to get to boat smashing into other boats in a few minutes. That is our react show where we're going to watch goofy shit after listening to this and reading this horrifying crap. Didn't get my INN classic INN sticker. It's overdue. Speaking of merch, thank you, Lisa Tyree. I don't know what happened to it. I don't know. Did you get it through INN IndieNews.shop or through these guys? At Big Frog. Either way, I can follow up for you and try to find out. Reach out to me, Lisa, please, on Twitter. All right, everyone. I'm already spent, but I'm ready to go to boats. I want to go laugh and watch some goofy shit, take a couple of puffs, and I'll see y'all next week. Support independent media because we need it more than ever. I love you, and see you soon, everyone.
See you in a bit, fam.
Mwah. Ciao, baby.
No! We just fucking lost the stream!
I think I liked it better being blind, when I couldn't read between the lines, and when I couldn't see the cracks in the structure that lay bare before me the whole time. I think I liked it better back when I suspended disbelief and swallowed pride. I thought I knew the difference in the red from the blue, but they both bleed us so dry. They both bleed us so dry.
My favorite songs don't hit the same way. I get to the end of a 4-minute track and I'm only looking back thinking, what did they actually say?
I guess this isn't such an awful place. Is that what you want me to say?